You're rushing to the front door. You see flashing lights all over, and excitement just rushes onto your face. It's your time to shoot the ball and be on the lane and show everybody what you can do. You might do some flips and turns, and you'll throw the ball between your legs, depending on who's watching, of course, because you don't want the manager to see you play around on the approach. But this is your first bowling party that you are at as a little kid. From a young age, I've always been interested in bowling. And my sister and I both were on a team in high school when we were together for just 1 year. And she was a sophomore when she first started, and then when we were, she was a senior and I was a freshman when we were on the team together. Now, after the year that we were together, I started having some problems on the bowling team. Our coach that was just a volunteer had left, and the main coach was not coaching as he should have. So we had some problems with him embezzling money, with threats on the team. I was one of the players on the team that got threatened by a parent, or I should say grandparent on the team, by saying I was trying to get the coach out of the position that he had, because I was helping other girls out on the team, because I just wanted us to be better as a team as a whole. But anyway, I'm going to talk about bowling, things that I have learned from myself, coaching myself in high school, and that would be scoring. In tournaments and in matches, there's this thing called a Baker game, where 5 people on a team will each bowl two frames, and the first person and the last person are normally the most important. They lead the game off, and they finish the game. Now, the Bakers are important because you have 2 in matches, and then you can have up to 6 in tournament play. And it's all cumulative, and it gets you points towards the overall score that your team can finish off at. Now, it was really hard for me to find things on the database for bowling. In general, I can only find books, not articles and journals. So I looked off of 2 important websites. One which was Bowling Approach, and it told me about just how you have different Baker games that you can play, but the most important that people normally play are the first person starts, and then they do 2 frames per game. And I also learned that bowling is not just about the highest score that you can get, but it's learning discipline and being a part of the team. Another thing that I learned being a bowler is etiquette. It's always the first person to your right to bowl, and then if the person has already gone, then they will bowl the next game. So say I bowl the first one, and then there's a few bits left on the approach, then I would go up and bowl. But if the other person hasn't bowled yet, then they would step off the approach, and then I would keep going. Now for open bowl, a lot of people don't know that, so a lot of times I'll just let them go. It depends on the scenario. And I was looking off of bowling.com, which is also another website, bowling.com, which is also known as the USBC, United States Bowling Congress. And it just talked about people gesturing when they're up at the approach. You see a lot. I don't know if you guys have ever watched professional bowling, but there's usually just 2 lanes, and they'll walk up, and then they'll see the pin, they'll move to the side. And you can do that in a professional bowling setting, but say you're in a tournament play or match play, then it's not as professional to do that because it could distract another person. Now, the other thing that I learned, the third thing that I learned, is about hooking the ball into the pocket. And what I do is I go up second arrow, and then the core inside the ball will hook into the pocket. Now, some people, they'll just go straight up the lane, or they'll banana arc it, which means they'll go from the left to the right side, So again, it just depends on the person. And different balls have different cores, so it can be strong within the ball and hook into the pocket, but spare balls intentionally, they just go for either the 7 and 10 pin, which are on the sides. Now all of these points, including etiquette, oil patterns, depending on how shot, which can be the typical one that you use, or different ones depending on the length. And Baker Games have really opened my eyes to realize how many patterns there are, and just bowling and sports in general have many different parts to them. And I've learned not only how to bowl, but how to advocate for myself, and it has made me a better person, has prepared me for the future, and has influenced me as a college bowler.